Spirit Sports Consultants presents.
We got our 2024 NFL Draft preview. We're going to do a little bit of a mock draft here. We're going to do the top 5, then show you the rest of our list, and then we're going to give you our link to our website. We're going to update this rather than putting out multiple mock draft videos. That would get pretty cumbersome and boring. So let's take a look at the Bears, who are now on the clock. A lot of rumors and discussion what they were going to do with that number 1 overall pick. They could still trade out of that position, but having traded Justin Fields, that seems less likely. Seems like they're going to go after the quarterback here, and we think the pressure is going to be too strong to take the quote-unquote obvious number 1 pick. We don't agree with this, but we do believe the Bears are going to take the, like I said, safe pick and take Caleb Williams, number 1, quarterback out of USC. A lot of people think he could be the next Patrick Mahomes. We're not quite so sure, but that's what the Bears will do, we think. But moving on to Washington, we think they're going to get the best quarterback in this draft, and we're a little bit biased towards Jayden Daniels. We follow a lot of SEC. Both my sons are at SEC schools, Tennessee and Auburn, so we've seen a lot of the SEC games. We think he's got the intangibles plus the athleticism. We see him as being a Lamar Jackson possible upside. That's a stretch, but we see he could be that good. With the Patriots, we think they're going to take the next best guy, Drake Maye, who's not going to necessarily be the next Tom Brady, but should give them a stabilizing quarterback presence for the next 5 to 7 years. We'll see how that works out for the Patriots. So moving on to the Cardinals, looking at what they've got, they're set at quarterback really with Kyler Murray. So what's the next best athlete and available position? I think it's undoubtedly Marvin Harrison Jr., who's going to give Kyler Murray that top tier target. And then really going to be a make or break thing. I think if Kyler Murray can't succeed with Harrison Jr., then they need to move on and get another quarterback. Now our first trade, we've got the Vikings trading from the Chargers and then taking JJ McCarthy, getting their quarterback of the future. We think that's a good move. We think it's a good move for both teams. Harbaugh can trade down and then maybe stock up on the defensive side. We'll talk about that in a bit. And this is our projection. We think this is an interesting spot, either 4 or 5. You could see the Cardinals or Chargers trading out. You also have teams like the Raiders who may want to trade up and get their quarterback of the future as well. So for the rest of the first round, we're going to take you over to our website, spiritsportsconsultants.com, and we plan to post updates here once a week. A lot of things are changing. Look at the recent trades, like what the Texans did with Stephon Diggs. So a lot of that's going to affect where we are with our mock draft. So let's get back to round 1 mock draft. We think the Giants are going to take wide receiver Neighbors from LSU. We think that we've heard rumblings and rumors that they could go for a quarterback, but we think you've got to be a little fair. You just spent a lot of money on his extension, so why not give Daniel Jones another target and another year to see what he can do with a talented wide receiver. Moving to the Titans, we think that now there are a passing team, strictly a passing team. You've got Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, and then you've got basically a deep ball throw specialist in Will Levis. So we think we got to improve that offensive line. We think Joe Alt's perfect for that. Great start left tackle meet. So moving down to the Atlanta Falcons, we love what they did getting Kirk Cousins. Might have overpaid a little bit, but quarterback was their true Achilles heel last season. The rest of their offensive skill players are top tier, so we think they need to upgrade that defense, and they will do so by picking Dallas Turner, edge rusher from Alabama. So back to the Bears, they get another first-round pick. We think that they're going to go for the best remaining receiver, which in this case is Rome Odunze. Hopefully I said that right. We saw him play a lot at Washington. Unbelievable talent. We think he might have made Michael Penix look even better than he is, and we're high on that quarterback. But we think adding Odunze to Williams, wow, that offense has totally changed to the upside. So looking at the Jets, we think they solved a lot of their issues on the offensive line via free agency. So we think they're going to move and add another target for Mr. Rogers. We think they'll take Brock Bowers from Georgia. Chargers, this is that first pick they're going to receive from Minnesota. We think they're going to use it to strengthen the defensive line, adding Jared Verse from FSU, which should really strengthen that edge rush. Moving down to the Broncos, and put an asterisk by the Broncos and Raiders here, two teams that could trade up if they want to go ahead and grab that quarterback of the future. We don't think they will. Price is going to be too high, so we think Broncos are going to take Fashanu, bolster that offensive line, and give Jared Stidham at least a season at quarterback and see how he does. So similarly with the Raiders, we think with Minshew at quarterback for at least a year or two, we think they're going to stick with him. We think they'll strengthen that O-line by adding Fuaga from Oregon State. Looking at the Saints, we think that was one of the most disappointing teams last year. We think the offensive line was a big reason for that. So they've added some pieces on defense, and we think they're going to take J.C. Latham Improve that O-line. So that tackle position from Alabama. So moving down to the Colts, they're going to be getting Anthony Richardson back at quarterback, so that offense should be significantly improved. So why not add to a pass defense is one of the weakest in the NFL by taking Quinion Mitchell from Toledo at cornerback. Looking at Seattle, we wouldn't be shocked if they take Michael Penix here, local kid, but we think they're going to improve the O-line. Fautanu from Washington instead. Moving down to Jacksonville, what a great job they did getting Eric Armstead. We think they're going to focus on improving the secondary, and they'll take Terrion Arnold from Alabama at cornerback. So then looking at Cincinnati, we think, why not take another LSU offensive player? Why Brian Thomas from LSU with T. Higgins question marks. Moving down to the Rams, we think they've got to try to replace Aaron Donald, so they'll take Texas defensive tackle Byron Murphy. And then looking at Pittsburgh, we think they're going to address the offensive line. Now they've solved their quarterback issues, and they take Mims from Georgia. And then Miami, we think that they need to add that second cornerback to go along with Jalen Ramsey and give him the opportunity to mentor a young guy. Kool-Aid McKinstry is our pick for that. Coolest name in the draft. We think the Dolphins will be just fine at the defensive back position. Looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, we like Cooper DeJean here. We know they need to bolster their secondary, and we think they could look to pick a center to replace Jason Kelsey, but we think instead they'll go for defensive help. Chargers, again, this is their second pick they got from Minnesota. I think they'll strengthen the secondary by taking Nate Wiggins, probably an underrated cornerback from Clemson. And then looking at the Cowboys, I think they need offensive line help, so they will take Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon. Then Green Bay, we think they need help at linebacker, so they'll take Peyton Wilson from NC State. And then the Bucks, we think are going to get a little bit of a steal here, taking Latu from UCLA. We like his work ethic and overall general effort. We'd like that pick for the Buccaneers. So the Cardinals get another pick in the first round. I think this is the pick they got from the Texans. We think they'll also the edge rushing, taking Darius Robinson from Missouri, maybe an underrated player. Strong effort from Missouri all last season. Similarly, looking at Buffalo, we think they're going to get a value pick here, taking Newton from Illinois. We think he should be a top first-round talent. Problem is he played for an under-the-radar program at Illinois, so he's probably a little bit underrated, as we stated. The Detroit Lions, the defensive line is already good, but teams love to double team Aiden Hutchinson. So we think if you add another edge rusher, in this case Chop Robinson, they won't be able to do that, and that defensive line will be even better. So the Ravens, we think as a running team, they're going to need offensive line help. So we think they're going to take Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma to bolster that rush offense. And the 49ers put an asterisk by this one. We think they need right tackle help so badly, they might trade up to do that. But if they stay here, we like them taking Graham Barton from Duke. And then the Chiefs, look at that. We know the wide receiver was their Achilles heel last year. We think they're going to add another one, especially with the legal issues potentially facing Rice. So we think they're going to take Xavier Worthy from Texas, who really impressed at the combine earlier this year. And that's it for our first mock draft. Please hit us up in the comments. We'd love to hear your comments and have a little debate, because with mock drafts, no one's ever right. Look at last season. Who would have seen the Texans taking C.J. Stroud and then Will Anderson 2-3 in the first round? These weird trades happen all the time. So, yeah, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think. Appreciate you joining, and have a good day.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.